Hi everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. In these uncertain times, many of us have been wondering what the makeup landscape is going to look like post-lockdown and whether or not we will have a job to go back to at all. Until the government loosens these restrictions on social distancing, it looks unlikely that we are going to be able to return to a normal working environment for quite some time. It would seem quite impossible that we could do our jobs at all under the current guidelines as they stand. Shockingly, however, it has been drawn to my attention that during this pandemic, some companies have continued shooting and filming regardless, which is mind-boggling, ignoring the safety guidelines put in place by the government. I mean, this is surely unethical, selfish and incredibly dangerous. By breaking the lockdown, this virus will take longer to be eradicated, and this crisis will just continue to impact negatively on all of us by threatening all the sacrifices we have made so far and the precious loss of life that some of us have sadly had to deal with. But we find ourselves in a situation where the relaxing of some of these restrictions are just around the corner, with talk of some businesses, coffee shops and even florists all gearing up to go back to work. So my question is, where does that leave us? Our job is probably one of the most high-risk occupations out there, as it involves us being very hands-on with our clients and actually touching faces and in very close proximity to others during our working day. The fact is, vast amounts of people are still dying from this virus. So it's too early, in my mind, that we can return to work until COVID-19 is under control and testing is freely available for all of us, or a vaccine has been found at least. As a makeup artist, we have always had a duty of care to our clients, and cross-contamination of our equipment has always been an issue. But now, more than ever, we must be seen to operate in an ethical way, especially if some of us are considering going back to work sooner than we had planned. Of course, we would all like to go back to work, but how safe is it? And do you know how to protect yourself, your equipment, and those around you? This is why I have decided to draw people's attention to a code of conduct that I'm suggesting we all adopt moving forward. A way to facilitate and communicate to our clients that by implementing a more sanitary work practice and with their support, we could in fact get back to work sooner rather than later, safely and respectfully of others. Obviously, some people may have had the virus and already have immunity. Others may not have had it at all. Some may be vulnerable or live with vulnerable people. So each situation is different and needs to be approached following the government guidelines at that time. But what is clear is the first thing we should do is protect ourselves by wearing PPE in the workplace. Once restrictions are lifted and time passes, things will naturally change, but it is our duty to be aware of these changes and practices. And of course, it goes without saying that the NHS and key workers on the front lines should get PPE over us every time. However, if you have acquired a hospital grade mask, it will protect you from anything better that's out on the market. It may be though that by the time we actually go back to work, we may be advised to make our own masks. But one thing is clear, there will need to be a barrier between ourselves and our clients. The ultimate barrier to the virus is the FFP3 mask. This should be worn with latex gloves at all times while we are doing our makeup. It would be amazing if production companies could provide this for us. However, I feel this will be for us to provide, and these should now become a standard kit staple for our kits. With all of this in mind, I have worked through a few work-based scenarios and have made some operating suggestions around the current social distancing guidelines and this ever-evolving situation we find ourselves in. Suffice to say, It will be a few more months, I imagine, until we are all back to work normally and can implement these suggestions. This could be a useful tool to send to clients, production companies, photographers, etc., to reassure them that we can work if necessary and how this could look for our industry. We essentially cannot do this alone though, and we need the support of all involved to respect social distancing in all other aspects of our day, whether we are on location or in a studio. So every scenario needs to be assessed individually and may not be necessary in the days and months to come, but need to be addressed. So please take a moment to look through my suggestions below and message me, as I would love to know what your thoughts are on this. So here are some teamwork suggestions. Everyone in the studio or location environment should wear a mask, at least. Current government guidelines are to be respected, so coughing into your elbow, disposing of tissues, regular hand washing, you know, as we have been. Production, a closed set would be optimum for social distancing. Photographer, model and hair and makeup styling going on set only when is necessary and in suitable PPE. Separate client and glam monitors should be provided, maybe, with social distancing being respected. This should also apply for lunch breaks and any time people are together. Clients to cover the cost of specific makeup that they may need to be purchased to prevent cross-contamination, i.e. mascaras, kohl pencils, etc. Models to bring their own makeup bag, possibly. This would definitely save cross-contamination, and specific products, i.e. kohl and mascaras, etc. Modelling agencies, maybe they should advise whether the models are now immune or not to the virus with verified paperwork if this exists at the time. However, with the correct protection, you should be able to deal with anyone who is sat in your chair. Obviously, if your subject is sick, you should not work on them regardless. I'm not going to tell photographers, hairdressers or stylists what to do and how to conduct themselves. That's up to them. But photographers, stylists and hairdressers should all adopt their own similar work ethics so we can all work harmoniously and safely moving forward. Okay, so on to the Makeup Artist Code of Conduct and Safe Work Practice. Self-protection and kit contamination are crucial with what we do. So PPE, a suitable mask and gloves should be worn at all times to protect the unmasked model during makeup application. Obviously, a hospital grade mask would give you the best protection. Hand washing, Hibby scrub or an equivalent antibacterial soap should be used. Brush cleaning, isopropyl or an equivalent solvent which will kill the virus and clean the brushes should be used before and after every use. Kit essentials, in my mind, a stainless steel spatula and a palette, an antiseptic cleaner or wipes for cleaning down equipment, and obviously disposable spoolies and lip wands I think are imperative. So on to the makeup application itself. It would be a good idea, in my mind, to guide and talk the model through your cleanse, tone and moisturise routine for her skin type. Hand out decanted products to the model on fresh cotton wool and get her to do it herself. Get her to do as much of that herself as possible. Decant all your foundations onto your palette and apply to the model using a brush. Never allow the foundation applicator to touch the palette or even put any unused product back into the container. Decant everything before you use it in this way, including translucent powder, which is probably the best powder to be using, and discard tissues, cotton wool, cotton buds as soon as you've used them safely into a bin. So onto cream products. Cut or scrape these onto your palette with a spatula to use. So this could be lipsticks, cream blush, stick foundations, gel eyeliners. So once you've removed them, discard. Don't ever put anything back in its packaging. Powder, blush and eyeshadow. Use cream or loose pigments where you can for safety. If using pressed powder, then scrape the product out of the packaging onto your palette before use. Kohl pencil. is to be avoided unless using the model's own or the product has been purchased specifically for the shoot and the model can then take that home with her. If you are sharpening a pencil, sterilize the sharpener if you've used it. Liquid eyeliner. Using a gel at this time is probably the most hygienic thing to do, or anything that can be removed from its packaging without contaminating your kit. Please do not use directly from the applicator. It's incredibly dangerous. Mascara. Use the model's own if you can, or purchase one for the shoot, or use a disposable spoolie. But remember never to reinsert the same spoolie into the mascara tube more than once. Use it just to remove the product and for one application. So most of this is just common sense to the experienced makeup artist, but it is surprising how many people have not been through stringent training. And these steps are often not followed at all. But we are in a very dangerous environment right now, and when we are eventually able to start work again, things may be different still. Who knows? So please, so we can ensure we have an industry to go back to, make sure you are aware of this essential code of practice and utilise it if you can moving forward. So when we do return to our new normal, we will do so safely and respectfully of others. But for now, and for as long as you can, please stay home, stay safe, and save lives. Thank you for listening, and please do share.